Woo.
Good evening. Good evening. Hey, we're back again. I'm one of your hosts, Richmond Webb, and also joined by my co-host, Robert Wilson. And you can follow me at Richmond Webb on Twitter. You can follow Robert Wilson at Aggie Bull. And also you can follow Starcade Media at Starcade Media, or you can catch them on YouTube as well. So we're back for another episode. Robert, how you doing this evening?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Hanging in there. Got a good day of fishing in before this weather got in here, so I'm very happy.
Fresh water or salt water?
Salt water.
Salt water, okay.
Yeah. I go where I can try to get those adrenaline shots that we're talking about.
Well, if you need some cornmeal or something, you let me know. I'll head your way. I'm sure you did pretty good, so that's a good thing. But really hadn't. I guess last week was, we were together, and also I'd like to make mention that our former coach, Coach Sherrill, was honored as Touchdowner of the Year, and at the award event last Wednesday. So that was huge. The attendance, former players, you name it. I had a great time. Saw some of my teammates I hadn't saw in years, so that was a great thing. And two of the things that stood out during that was the panel discussion. I think, Robert, you participated in that. And then after that, they had three of us speak. I was honored to speak for Coach Sherrill. But, man, what was huge was actually sitting up there and having the opportunity to talk with Governor Rick Perry. And I really enjoyed his speech. And I didn't know he was that funny and outgoing. You see people on TV and real energetic. And I guess it was just all the Aggie family, all that maroon up in there. He just felt at home, and he just really relaxed and did an awesome job with the. He did an awesome job with his speech and things he said about Coach Sherrill and stuff like that. Coach Sherrill just put the ice in. So it was a great time last Wednesday, but it was good to be in attendance. I'm glad I was able to make it. I saw you took some pictures and stuff together. So, like I said, saw some teammates, and I saw you post some pictures in the group chat that we had taken with some of our other teammates.
Yes, sir. And man, like you said, the thing at this point in our lives, man, is I always like to say is that we don't miss the game, we miss each other. And it's like to see Woody and Roper and Todd and then, Bucky and to see all those guys, man, just brought back a lot of great memories. And then for Coach Sherrill, Coach Sherrill shot a couple of slugs at Governor Perry. He was like, hell, man, if you'd been this energetic you might have been president right now.
Yeah, I think the crowd got it. I laughed. Even Governor Rick Perry, I was sitting right by him. He laughed. But I know Coach Sherrill was the one that could say that. I would have never got up and said that. But it hit the nail on the head, and it was funny. and
Yeah.
everybody laughed, and that's why I say it was really a good time and this and that. So I did want to mention that, during the show that Coach Sherrill got honored, and some of the past inductees are, I remember I attended Archer Manning, R.C. Slocum is in there. I think they mentioned Bear Bryant. So the cream of the crop as far as coaches and stuff like that. So
And then we had we were fortunate enough to have Coach R.C. Slocum as the surprise guest from his ranch. He came in and talked about how Jackie helped him and how they got along. All those years coaching together and what it meant to him. And so it was great to see Coach Slocum as well.
It was, and the reason he wasn't there, well, I know but a lot of people, Coach Slocum had a health challenge, but he's on the upswing and everything is looking good. He's just got to get stronger, but he wasn't able to be in attendance. But to send that video message, I think it was a surprise. And then when you have one of your former coaches that's on your staff, speak the way that he did and speak and hold you in high regard, and then turn around and then he's your successor and continues the legacy that you helped start build.
Mm-hmm. And, I'd like to personally thank Nick McGraw. He's the current president of Touchdown Club, and that's where my invite came from. And so he did a great job getting everybody there and hosting it. So big shout out to Nick McGraw and Touchdown Club.
No question. Well, the Aggies had a bye week last week, so we didn't play. But I also thought I'd throw this in. College football rankings. I don't know if you had the opportunity to see it last night, but they always do the live show, come in, and our Aggies are number 14. So I said, okay, we're making progress, but we didn't lose any ground, but we really didn't gain any. But I'm happy at 14. We're 6-2 right now. But little shake up in the top four. You got Georgia, which I think was a consensus. Nobody had an argument with that.
Mm-hmm.
But following that was Alabama at 2, Michigan State at 3, and Oregon at 4. Right. And then at 5 was Ohio State, and then Cincinnati, which, before this came out, Cincinnati was number 2. And, they kind of discussed it a little bit, but what do you think about it?
I think they're basing most of that on strength of schedule.
Yeah.
And I do think that they should have left Cincinnati in, since they were number 2 and they put Alabama at 2.
Where would you put them?
I would put them at 4.
Okay.
If you're still gonna bring Oregon in, if you're gonna bring Oregon in, then they can't replace Cincinnati. That as far as I'm concerned. But the school that impressed me the most over the weekend was Michigan State.
How about that? The young man Walker the third scored 5 touchdowns, and it was almost similar to, except it was 2 higher ranked teams. But the atmosphere, it wasn't quite, but it was close. The A&M Alabama game, the atmosphere at that game, Michigan State versus Michigan, which is a huge rivalry. It was close. It wasn't. Now you can't match Cal Field, but it was a really good game. It was really loud, and they played their butts off. Michigan was up, but they continued to fight, and that young man scored 5 touchdowns. And I think he's a senior, so I know his stock is
the running back.
Yeah, running back, and I think he scored 4 touchdowns in a previous game this year too. So he's definitely on the radar. And when
I look at him, and the running back from Texas, and I was like, man, these guys are from the same mold.
Yeah,
they got the speed, the power, and the top end speed.
Yeah,
if they get past you, they're gone.
They're gone.
Yeah.
You're right.
That was a great game, but they're gonna put Alabama in there, man, because but I put them at number 2. That didn't do it for me. I'm sorry.
Where do you think Alabama should be ranked?
I think Alabama should be ranked behind anybody that's undefeated still.
Really?
Top four, like in the top four. If you have undefeated teams in the top four, Alabama should be ranked behind them.
Well, I think they were. I think Alabama was previously 3. I want to say they was 3 because
Yeah,
Michigan State was
but
like,
they're gonna keep Alabama in there because of who they are, what they've proven to be over the years. But just like you said, hey, they got hit in the mouth when they played the Aggies. So who's to say somebody else won't hit them in the mouth? You know?
yeah. I mean, but like you say, they've been consistent and not just one year. It's pretty much every now and then you'll get them with a 2-loss season, but pretty much it's maybe one and they run the table. So if you get them, it's maybe one time. Somebody get them and then that's it. I'm looking for.
That one loss is called.
Huh?
That one loss is called poking the bear.
It was time to do that, and it came from somebody from the West. It was a couple of years ago. They played LSU with Joe Burrow. They had that squad, and LSU went undefeated. But you gotta match that level of play if you want, like you say, poke the bear or whatever. But I do believe unless something drastically happened, it'll be Alabama and Georgia in the SEC championship. And I think they know some of those matchups are coming. And if Alabama loses that, I don't see a 2-loss team making it in the college football deal. So,
and they say Georgia. From what I'm hearing, I haven't really watched Georgia's defense this year. I can't wait till I can. But they're saying Georgia's defense can stop a lot of NFL teams right now. That's what they're saying.
I don't know about that. I hear you, but
well, you know how they say
grown men. they probably stop some, but I hear you. That's it changed, but they legitimate. I watched them 3 or 4 games, and they are very good. Yeah.
Now and back to Oregon. Oregon has the number 1 pick in the draft, the DN.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh yeah, he got hurt early in the season. That's right. Yeah, he got hurt.
Oh yeah, so he's back, and so he's a impact player on any stage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So with what they do on offense, and now they got him back on defense, Oregon, they can shock some people.
Well, they shocked Ohio State. You remember early in the season they went to Columbus and beat Ohio State, and I mean they looked good offense, defense. I mean Ohio State definitely wasn't prepared for it, but yeah, that's why I said I don't have. Oregon's got a really good team, so we'll just have to wait and see. And I think Michigan still has to play Ohio State. I don't know who Michigan State has left on their schedule, but Cincinnati, I think, still has a chance to sneak in there. They just got to win out. But I think they probably got the easiest based on what they got left on their schedule. They should win out, and I think they're going to continue to play. At a high level, and I think they'll end up undefeated.
So this is I'm not going way off on a tangent, but this is about another college football team. I don't know if you saw that the coach from Texas Tech got fired.
I did not see that.
Yeah, so Walls or whatever his name is. So I had my little cousin, Alex Hogan, who's now transferred from Texas Tech to U of H.
Okay.
And him and Keyshawn Carter, the receiver, they both are at U of H right now. And they both left Tech, man. And I was so happy for them to get out of there before the walls came tumbling down, because the writing was on the wall, man. This guy comes from Utah State somewhere, and he didn't have it, man. He just didn't have it. And for Texas Tech to pull the plug on him that quick, they didn't see it either.
Yeah, and like I said, you lose the players, and you get caught in a situation where, you're a second, third year guy, and that guy gets pulled. You already got a new coach you're dealing with, but that's not working out, and somebody else come in, he's gonna start trying to work with some of the younger guys. So, like you said, it was good they got out of there, and they're at U of H now. They're back home, and
They had the big. I was at the big win over SMU. Actually, got some sideline passes.
okay, okay.
Actually, able to get down on the sideline for that SMU game, man. That was a fun game, but that was back and forth. And, nobody ever gave up till the end. It was a hard fought game till the end.
Well, speaking of fun games, the Aggies got one coming up this weekend, and it will be Auburn versus Texas A&M. They come to College Station. Auburn is the number 13 ranked team. We're number 14, and they're coming off a huge win. They beat Ole Miss, and Ole Miss was 10 ranked team, and I think Auburn was like around 17 or 18, but end up beating Ole Miss, which I know they have a good team as well, and they're 6-2. So this is going to be a good test for the Aggies. The good thing is we have them at home, and I think we know what's at stake. This game concerns me, and the Ole Miss game also concerns me. But I think the way they've played the last 3 weeks, if they continue to play, they've had an extra week, a bye week to rest or get some guys back healthy. I think we'll see some guys that hadn't been playing that will re-enter into the lineup, and we'll have more weapons and stuff like that. But it should be a good game. It should be a good matchup. I think it's actually going to be on the SEC channel, and I'm looking forward to it. Playing against
this game is at Auburn, right?
It's in College Station.
It's at home. Okay.
Yeah.
I was ready to say, man, you have to pull out that Colorado tape and figure out how to win on the road again.
Oh yeah.
If it's at home, man, then they got the home field advantage, man. It's time to go out there and the Aggies with so much talent on paper, the goal is not like Mike Singletary said. The first thing we have to figure out is that we are not a non-profit organization. We can't give anybody anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if we and then I heard some stats about turnovers, man. It's like if you're +1, you're 80% to win the game. If you're -1, it goes under 50. You know what I mean? So winning the turnover battle will be crucial for the rest of the season.
No question. No question.
And that's what the guys need to focus on. Offensively, not turning it over. Defensively, making causing turnovers and getting that ball out, man. Punch that ball out. That's a new thing.
And to their credit, since they played Alabama, they look like to me a different football team. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like they're playing with way more confidence, and
they got that swagger.
They got that swagger back, and if the defense play like they did against South Carolina, I mean, when I heard at halftime that South Carolina had a total of 11 yards, that's just complete domination. So I'm not saying they're going to duplicate the same thing against Auburn, but if they go and play good defense and play that same swagger, we should be in good shape. And I think Coach Fisher's going to have them ready to go. But this is another we got to be ready to go. Yeah.
And then that's what I said last week. Coach is earning these last 2 weeks. He's earned 45 of that $75 million by keeping the guys.
Over half of it.
45, yeah. Because to keep the guys focused through the off weeks, not let them get set up for a trap game, and then to have them execute the game plan, at home.
Yeah.
So he's making his money right now. And
I think one of the biggest things that really slowed him down was young quarterbacks. Both of them were young. One of them got hurt with the broke leg. But then the other thing too was we had a lot of injuries in the offensive line, and we're starting to get some of them guys back. And when you get almost 300 yards rushing 2 weeks in a row from two different backs, spreading the ball around. I think that's A&M's identity, not so much throwing the football, but a physical style of play up front, opening those holes up and letting Spiller and A-Chain eat. I mean, if they continue to do that, that controls the time of possession, this and that, and like you said, keeping those turnovers to a minimum, not making mistakes like that to beat yourself, and then getting turnovers. That's when you playing the swagger, the Texas A&M type of football. So I think that game is 6:30 Central. So SEC. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
The key word you said. What did you say? The key. I just lost my thought.
Keys to the game. The keys for me to the game, I would say establish the running game.
Oh no, there you go. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I think the last two games, and even in the Alabama game, with Spiller coming back in the game after he had got hurt and stuff. So I think that's when we established our identity. So our identity was kind of wishy-washy leading up to that point. But then we established our identity on offense and defense, like you said, rushing 2 weeks in a row for over 300 yards. Yeah. So that's our identity. That's a smash mouth football, and then that's a aggressive defense. You can't do that unless your defense is aggressive and you're pounding people with the rock, man.
You're gonna get hit in the mouth whether it's on offense or defense, and I agree with you that is what their staple is. And like you said, when you got two backs like Spiller and A-Chain, and both great backs, but it's two different running styles, and if you miss a tackle on A-Chain, you might as well get ready to line up for the extra point or a 2-point conversion.
Yes, sir.
And this is when I know he's fast. You know how and you never talk about his world-class speed, but this is why I know. Normally, you see most guys break a long run or whatever. They always look to the right or left to see if somebody's coming. He never looks to the side. If you watch him, he never looks because you're not going to catch me. Once he gets out there.
For what? But now, the onus is still on the coaches.
It's always on them. You got to prepare.
Moving forward, offensively and defensively, you have to remain creative, like the Alabama game. Offensively, we did motions, we did resets, we put Wiedemeyer at the X by himself, and they couldn't adjust to it. They said there's strong safety out there, so that's automatic. We're going out there, or whatever. And then just with the motions, and then on defense, disguising coverages. You know what I mean? Run blitzes. That's from Little League all the way up to the NFL, man. People don't do this enough anymore. You know? They don't do this anymore.
It seems like Calzada has gotten a little bit more comfortable, and I agree with you. It seems like they definitely have opened it up the last few weeks. I think even Wiedemeyer scrolled on like a little receiver, a tight end screen they ran the last against South Carolina. So when you got a weapon like that, which we all knew in the type of season he had previously last year, you got to try to game plan for guys like that, because you can't really stop a guy like that. You just try to minimize, the damage he's going to do to you. But I mean, he's a Sunday player for sure. I mean, that young man there is no joke. Yeah, so. I'm excited about Saturday. I think we're gonna take care of business. I think the coach is gonna have them prepared. Like I said, 2 weeks, and like you said, go out and hit them in the mouth and continue to do the things that they've been doing.
So I know we're still on college football. So I'm gonna fast forward real quick because I have to unload the stuff out of my head because I'm kind of crazy. Von Miller getting traded to the Rams. So I just wanted to touch on that once we start talking about Dolphins in the NFL.
What do you think about that?
Well, first thing came to mind, the Super Bowl is in LA. So the Rams are saying, hey, let's just load up, man, see if we can make this run. You know? So now you got Donald. You got, this man. Then you got the cornerback. Man, come on.
Yeah. And I think they traded for Matthew Stafford, and their offense looks totally different. And this is the thing, but I get it, and I'm sure Von Miller wasn't happy about it. You've been the Bronco for that long. You want to finish your career, but the Rams are looking at, hey man, we got a chance to win a Super Bowl, and with Von, when he played the Super Bowl last time, he was the MVP. So I mean, he still has that big play ability, that pass rush, the snap. He can change the game with his ability.
Exactly. But I was talking to my brother-in-law in Denver. I was like, what happened to Chubb? He's like, oh, man, that dude flamed out. So it was supposed to be Vaughn and Chubb as the bookends.
Yeah.
That's why he never kept flourishing. You know what I mean? So now, can you imagine Donald at the end?
Well, you need Donald. Who you gonna double? You know what I'm saying? You can't double both of them. You got to pick your poison. So it was a great pickup, huh?
It's gonna be ugly, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be. So yeah, that's one of our Aggie brothers. I'm sure he has mixed emotions, but that's the business side of it that comes into play at time. And I guess we might well roll on into the Dolphins. With you bringing that up and the trade deadline yesterday.
I got a little more information from the Rams because
what you got?
Now everything's going good on offense. They're spreading the ball around, and what's his name? Deshaun Jackson asked for a trade, and they gave him permission.
Yeah.
So I looked at that as kind of selfish. They're giving you what you're good at. They're giving you the deep balls, man. All those other plays.
Great, yeah.
You got Cooper Kupp going across the middle. You got all these other receivers, man, and tight ends. They got Cook over there.
Were they successful with trading him? Because if not, he's still there.
No, he's still there. They gave him permission to seek a trade, and they cut him or whatever.
Oh, they cut him.
Yeah, they got rid of him. He's no longer with them. Because they saw it coming up where he's gonna be like, hate to say it, but like the T.O. effect or the
disruptive. You don't want to be disruptive, like you said. When you're trying to make that push for a Super Bowl, it's the second half of the season. You trying to add pieces that's possibly missing to where you can say, okay, this gives us the best chance to possibly win our division because they're in the same division with Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray, Hop, them down there balling, J.J. Watt, you name it. Arizona's been playing, so they know in order to have a shot. Seattle's down a little bit this year, but they're looking at Arizona, and I'm sure they want to win that division and go in as a division and not a wild card one.
And the NFC this year, man, sadly, is going to cancel each other out. There's so much room. You got Tampa, like you said. You got the Rams. You got the NFC is just loaded right now. You got the Cowboys.
Cowboys very good. Yeah.
Whoever comes out of that, I think whoever comes out of the NFC wins the Super Bowl.
That's a good argument. Right now, you could say out of the AFC, Buffalo and Tennessee was playing good, but they lost Henry. You know what I'm saying? They changed the whole dynamic of their football team. Yeah. I think they picked up Adrian Peterson, but that was a huge blow to the Titans. But before then, they were looking really good. Baltimore, I think, is still playing pretty good. I hadn't watched much of them, but
Baltimore is a scary team just to beat. Baltimore is scary just to play them in the playoffs because you don't know what you're gonna get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't know if you know you don't know if Jackson's gonna go off. You don't know, you don't know what you're gonna get from them. But like teams like Tampa, you're gonna Tom Brady's gonna find out where your weakness is, and he's gonna load it up.
They got the weapons. They got a good defense. So yeah. Um, and then well, I guess let's get to the
Like
Dolphins. Huh?
it's like the NFL goes every time. Everybody likes all this throwing the ball and the air raid and trips here, trips there. But man, let me tell you something. When it gets down to December and January, football is football. Football go back to football. The teams that can run the ball and play defense
Yeah.
advance. The teams that don't can. If you can't control the ball during the playoffs, you're not going to be there. If
Yeah.
you can't run that ball and get that play action going, it's over for you.
Yeah.
It's just like basketball. In the playoffs, the game slows down. Like if they got showtime, they're gonna try to play half court. You know what I mean? Eat up
Oh
the
yeah.
clock.
Once the playoffs start, that's like you said. That's you get to December. It's no more tricks. Nobody's really surprised. You've shown just about everything that you're gonna do in September, October, November. So by the time December gets here, it's like you got to be able. You can't trick anybody. You got to be able to line up and execute. And if you can't, it's gonna show up. So yeah, you're right about that. But speaking of trade deadline, this and that, the big thing in Miami was the Tua, Deshaun Watson situation, and some rumors came out a few days ago that it was possibly going to happen, but at the end of the day, it didn't happen. So I'm kind of happy that's put to bed. Really feel bad for Tua because you start hearing first you probably ask management, are y'all seeking a trade or whatever, and they say no, and then you start hearing reports where they met with Deshaun Watson or they did this or did that, and you can deny all you want to, but a lot of times it's just not good. So for him to stay focused and continue to play and try to be competitive, I'll take my hat off to that young man. But no
And,
doubt.
and the road he traveled at Alabama prepared him for this.
Yeah.
Coming off the bench, throwing the winning touchdown in the national championship game to Devontae Smith, or the guy that won the Heisman Trophy last year. So that was, he was prepared for it, man. He's grounded, and I think, like I said, he'll be better for it. And now the team can galvanize around him, man. Now that they know he's the guy moving forward, everybody can just come together and say, "Hey, man, look, we got." And we don't talk about this enough as former players, man. The worst feeling in the world, well, one of the worst feelings for me personally, is pulling up to the complex after a loss. You know what I'm saying? Pulling up that is one of the worst feelings in the world. And one of the best feelings in the world, on the other hand, is pulling up after a win.
After a win.
The coach might have give you the day off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got you, and you're right. Even after a loss, you got to sit there. You got to watch that film, and sometimes in a loss, you think you played actually better than what you really played, but sometimes it's not as bad as it looks. And then sometimes in a win, you think you really played, and you didn't play as well as you probably should have. So it's just, but you're right. Your whole mindset is totally different after a win versus a loss going into there, because it's just everybody feels good, this and that. So that's why I've been hoping they will be able to turn it around. They've lost 7 in a row. And the ironic thing is about the Tua Deshaun Watson thing, they play the Texans in Miami on Sunday. So I know Deshaun didn't travel with the team, but you got to play this team. But the Texans got some issues.
Tua's teammates should be chomping at the bit to get out to the Texans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They should be.
Texans are 1-7. they've got their own issues, this and that, and
From what I'm hearing down here in Houston, man, is this Casario, this other guy that came from New England. They say,
Easterby or Easterly, yeah.
the Easterby, him and Jack Easterby, man, they talk about them like this is a clown show, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who is he? What is he? What is his responsibility? Some oh, he's the culture vulture, or he's supposed to be changing. And man, something that I'm seeing sadly in the league is I think it's happening in Miami. You bring that black guy in. Number one, you satisfy the Rooney Rule. You get all those perks. Then the black guy can change. The black guy can change the coach. Black head coach can change the culture in a year. So you bring him in for a year.
Were pretty good. It's just this year it's been bad. Yeah.
Right. But I'm saying he brought the culture with him. Now, so now just like our Aggie brother at the guy that coach that's here, the Texas coach, same thing. You got to bring that brother in to set the culture, and then it seems like they lame ducks. Every good defense, every top 4 defense right now in the league, or at least top 3, has Vance Joseph. You know what I mean? These top defensive coordinators, Lovie Smith. Well, he's not at the top, but all these top defensive coordinators that have head coaching jobs. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous, man. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I hope it's not the trend.
I think with the Dolphins, I think Flores has really got to find a way to kind of get it turned around. And I think now, you look at the stats, the thing that sticks out to me with the Dolphins, like even they lost to the Bills 26-11. But if you watch the game, they're making mistakes at crucial times when they're in scoring positions. I think this is the second or third week in a row that the kicker has missed a field goal. Normally that doesn't happen. They were down in the red zone, and it was a receiver, tight end, and in motion. And when they snapped the ball, the guy was coming across the center. The ball hits, and then fumble. Buffalo recovers. Well, that's 3 or 7 points you possibly leave on the board there. So a lot of times that can change the dynamics of things. But the other thing is penalties. And I remember when we played with Coach Shula, that was the main thing he harped on was mental errors and being the least penalized team, because a lot of times you can be 1st and 10, but if you holding call or whatever, now you're looking at 1st and 20. And it's hard to overcome those penalties. You might overcome some of them, but you're just making it a whole lot harder on yourself. So they've got to really focus in, I think, just basically go on the little things. I think if they can beat the Texans or come out this past weekend, this Sunday with a win, I think everybody will start feeling better. But they're playing better. It seems like they're playing hard. I watched the last couple of weeks. They're in the game. This one was 3 quarters. Then they start making some mistakes, and then 4th quarter, the score, I think Buffalo scored a couple of scores that, it made it look worse than what it was. But we were in that game for the most part. It's just, stop doing things to beat ourselves.
And then it starts from the top down, man. It's like, when we played, when Dan Marino was the quarterback, if you were on the offense, you did not make mistakes. If you did, well, somebody like yourself that's been his blind side for so many years, but like if I happen to get in the game as a backup fullback and make a mistake, that's probably gonna be my last play.
Well, that was the expectation
thing.
And it wasn't just Marino, it was Shula, it was the coaches,
right?
It was the running backs coach. They was making, hey, this is serious. We're not gonna do things to beat and not so much during the game, but if you made a mistake in practice, jumped off sides or whatever, Shula was all over you, because that's the time to correct it. Not on Sunday, but you correct that during and when you see bad habits, you stop them. And I think that's why we were always one of the least penalize teams, and now you show how important that really is. So,
that's something Nick Saban talks about all the time. It's showing the players why you do certain things at a certain time in the game, or why you cover the flat in this defense. And then he shows them, I saw a coach from Texas, and then he shows them what happens if you don't do your job.
yeah.
And that's the touchdown reel. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
It's and every highlight you see of Belichick, he's like, do your job individually. Do your job. And that's it.
Yeah. So we got the Texans on Sunday. I think we can come out with a win. The trade deadline is passed, so now all we got to do is just focus in and going to start Saturday with the Aggies versus Auburn, and then we got the Texans coming to the Dolphins, South Florida, play them. You got any last comments before we get out of here, Rob?
No, man. Just looking forward to the Aggies playing Auburn. Looking forward to the Dolphins beating the hell out of the Texans. And no, other than that, man, the rain and cold has made it to Houston. That's it. Oh, who am I shouting out? Shout out to no shout out.
No shout out. All right. Well, only thing I'm gonna say for both teams is kind of what we say in the highlight video: play hard. And they said play hard today. Today is Wednesday, but Saturday the Aggies need to play hard, and then Sunday the Dolphins. And let's come out with 2 dubs, and we'll see y'all next week. Thanks for tuning in with us.
Oh, Starcade Media. StarcadeMedia.com.
Starcade Media. Remember to follow us on, like, share, and subscribe. I'm at Richmond Webb. Robert Wilson's at Aggie Bull and at Starcade Media, and they're also on YouTube. So thanks for listening.
And we're also
next week.
We're also gonna next week we're gonna look at bringing a guest on. Somebody we played with, one of our friends, coaches, whatnot. We're gonna look into doing that on next week. So got to go ahead from Noah, then we talk to James and work it out, man.
Sounds good to me. I'll be ready.